Ms. Lusk, you and your mother say you have no doubt whatsoever when it comes to knowing who your 3-year-old daughter, Samari's biological father, is.
Yes, Your Honor.
Unfortunately, the man you claim is her father has died, and now you find yourself facing off against his mother, who is just as convinced that she is not your daughter's grandmother.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Paige, you say there's no way in this world Ms. Lusk is being truthful. For starters, you contend your son was in a committed relationship with another woman, and until he passed away, you had never heard of Ms. Lusk. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Lusk, describe to the court how difficult this situation has been for you and your daughter.
It's been more than extremely difficult. Being pregnant at 16, having to still go through school. These past 4 years, everything has been on me and my mother. And I feel it's completely unfair because he has a whole other side. She has a whole other side to her family. My daughter is beautiful, and you missed out on 4 years, almost 4 years of my child's life. Not
Okay,
only
Ms.
me,
Lusk,
not
everybody's
only
a
me.
single parent. You're
You're
not the only
absolutely
one.
correct, but you
It
were a
happens
single
every
parent
day,
as well.
all day.
You were a single parent. You raised Desmond by yourself. You raised Desmond by yourself.
Yes.
You're raising this was now pregnant by yourself.
Okay.
So you should feel where I'm coming from.
Okay.
But not
You
only
don't
that,
want
Let's get some order, ladies.
you're absolutely correct. I am, and I'm doing a good job. I have 2 jobs.
Let's get
I
some
have
order.
2 jobs. Going back to college in August. You're absolutely
Join the club.
correct. You're absolutely correct. But you should be on my side, if anybody, because you've been there.
Miss
My daughter is
Lusk,
beautiful.
Miss Lusk, calm down. Calm down. Ms. Lusk, you were saying your daughter, Samari, is almost 4. She's 3 right now.
Yes, ma'am. She'll
And
be
you're
born in
saying
December.
you believe Ms. Paige's son is her biological father.
Yes, ma'am.
Unfortunately, her son is deceased, so this has been an ongoing paternity issue for the past 3 years related to this beautiful, precious little girl. And you're saying you need help.
They're out for money. I had insurance on
What
my
money?
son. I had an insurance policy. They're out for
That we
money.
knew
And-
nothing about.
Let her
That we
speak.
knew nothing about.
Unless it's proven, it's not my son's
You
baby.
never posted
I knew
it on
anything
Facebook.
about
Miss Lusk.
Knew nothing about her.
You said you have an insurance policy.
Yes, Your Honor.
And so this insurance policy is in the amount of $50,000. You submitted that paperwork to the court. It is your testimony today that Ms. Lusk is attempting to get a portion of that money.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's why she's claiming your deceased son is her child's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor. I never heard of Miss Lusk.
And
Never.
that's
Your
not
son
true.
was in a committed relationship.
That we
Miss
knew
Lusk
nothing
was
about.
never brought up,
That we knew
or
nothing
brought
about.
around.
And the
Who
crazy
is
thing
Miss
is,
Lusk?
when the last time we were intimate, you knocked on the door. You interrupted us. Yes, ma'am. I was
It's
in
in
your
her
house.
head. It's
I
in
was
Miss
in your
Lusk's
room,
head. I
and you
never
came
heard
and
of
knocked
Miss
on the
Lusk.
door.
Ms. Lusk,
Absolutely
explain
fine.
to the court what happened that day.
It was a normal time scheduled routine that I would actually come over there because we had times that I would come over to see him because he only stayed a few blocks from my school. And during certain periods, whether it was gym or my lunch period, I would go, I would walk. He would meet me halfway.
When was
Absolutely
the first
correct, I
time you
did it.
physically saw me?
The first time I actually saw you.
When you proclaimed you were pregnant, you was very petite, no stomach, looking like an innocent child.
Yes,
You
ma'am. He
asked
said
to
the
go
same
to the
way I
school
look
to
now.
see my child. You asked to go to the school. Of course she wasn't showing. She was just pregnant.
You went to see Ms. Lusk at school?
Yes, I
Yes,
gave
I
her
went to see
permission.
her at school
They
to
had
talk
to
to
call
her and to
and
find out what was going on. She didn't look pregnant. She was holding her head down. She had no stomach whatsoever.
But at the same time, this was my first time meeting you, Miss Paige. Her exact words were, "You look like his type. You're very pretty, very small."
Miss Lusk
And
and
she
Miss
said the
Anderson, my
same
son didn't
thing.
have a particular type. He was in a relationship.
Miss Paige, you're saying your son was in a relationship with a different woman, a long-term relationship.
Yes,
one.
for years.
More than one.
Another
Where
young
today.
lady came out to pin the baby on him, and I did a DNA test, and it was 0 probability.
And that's
no,
why
I'm,
we're
not,
here
I'm
now.
not claiming
And
no baby.
we're
no.
not them.
Now listen, you said you had never seen her before until you went to her school.
Yes, Your Honor.
How did you get the news that she potentially was pregnant?
Well, I'm thinking that someone told me via Facebook or something like that.
No, ma'am.
So please respond, Miss Anderson. How do you know what happened?
I contacted Miss Page through Facebook to tell her to call me. She called me, and that's when I broke the news to her about my daughter being pregnant by her son.
Okay. And so you had a conversation, and during that conversation, what was said?
The very first thing she said to me is, my son is a legend. My son has women coming out the woodwork. She seemed proud.
And he's always gonna be a legend in my book.
She then had the nerve
Always.
to say to me that her son had no reason to be doing whatever he was doing in his past. And Your Honor, we have never asked her for anything.
At all.
Once she suggested bringing over a used walker. We declined her walker. She went into one of her little, oh, that ain't my grandbaby. Make sure you find your baby's daddy. And she's publicly putting it on Facebook. My
Also to
child's
the
name.
point where I can't defend myself because she'll have me blocked or she'll have it where I can't post comments. And I don't slander her on my Facebook. Not once have I ever
We've
said
never
anything
said
bad about
anything
this
about
woman.
her.
Miss Paige, are you posting things about Miss Lusk, this young girl, on Facebook?
She inboxed me, and me and her went back and forth on Facebook.
You're absolutely. But what led up to that,
as
Miss
far as the
Paige?
stroller,
What led up to that, Miss Paige?
One at a time.
You made a post.
I know anything about a stroller because I'm not providing a stroller for a child
It
that I don't
wasn't a
even know.
stroller,
my
it was
son-
a walker.
Whatever it was,
All right.
I'm not buying nothing.
Once Samari was born, did you allow Miss Paige the opportunity to see her? Did you say, the baby's here now, if
No,
you'd like
ma'am.
to?
Because prior to that, we were already where she was on Facebook saying, you need to have your daughter find the baby's daddy. My son is not it. You're not allowed to put the baby in the last name Paige. You don't have my permission. Like
Yes,
we
Miss
really
Anderson,
needed
'cause
it.
your daughter's on
like
the
we
back
need. We
page,
didn't
yes.
need your permission.
But the daughter's name is Samari Dior Anderson Paige.
And that's not
So
her
you
name.
gave Samari Desmond's last name.
Without my permission.
We don't need your permission. It was permission when I laid down and was
No,
intimate with him.
no, it's
That's
not- it's-
permission.
it's not been
That's
proven.
permission.
It's not been proven.
But it will be
You're-
today.
you're not
but it
his
will be
wife.
today.
You're
You're
not his
absolutely
wife.
correct. I don't have to be, and you're not either. You wasn't in the room, Miss
I'm
Paige.
his mother.
Okay, and I'm his baby mother.
No, you're not.
Yes, ma'am.
You're
Absolutely.
a wannabe.
What I'm not understanding is it seems like you all have had consistent contact with one another. Has Miss Paige had an opportunity to see Samari?
No, ma'am.
Never.
I seen her
She's
one
seen her
time by
once.
accident at an acquaintance birthday party.
So you've never had the opportunity to come by and spend
she
time
held
with
my
her.
daughter at that party. She also she had the opportunity. Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
she has.
Miss Lusk, I held her and I got a picture taken
You
because
had a
someone wanted
few.
to see did she
You had
even
a few. And
favor
you,
the family.
You posted it on Facebook. You posted it on your Facebook page.
To be
So,
honest,
yes,
I
ma'am.
don't
This
want
is my
Samari
first time
around
seeing
him.
you, Miss Anderson.
Yes, it is. And my first time and hopefully last seeing you.
The feeling is mutual.
Okay? Because we don't
Listen,
want you around.
but if
I don't-
listen,
don't want my
listen,
child. I
if
don't-
the baby is Desmond's, this will not be the last time you all see one another. And that's why I don't know why we carrying on up in here today like this. You all could both be the grandmothers of this beautiful, beautiful
I'm
little girl.
definitely the grandmother. This is my child.
We know that. The statement is that both of you all could be, meaning Miss Paige could be as well. So at the end of the day, let's just focus on the facts
Yes.
so we can see how we go forward. Now, I've done enough of these cases to know Miss Paige is grieving. She doesn't even have a person to review these facts with. Let's be clear. She can't say to her son, Desmond, I need to talk to you about this, this, and this, so I can get an understanding. And so I'm sure much of this animosity, ma'am, and I hope I'm not speaking for you incorrectly, but much of this pain and animosity that is coming out in your testimony is because you do feel like you have a situation before you and you have absolutely no one to ask a question about it, and you've lost your son in the process. Is that true?
Yes, Your Honor.
The only facts you can go by is the positioning of your son, what you were able to see prior to his passing, and that is what you were told, and you thought he was in a relationship with someone else, a long-standing relationship. Am I correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you didn't have any reason to know or believe your son was having sex outside of that relationship with anyone else. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I am just trying to give you all an opportunity to calm down and to see that there are two sides to this story. There really is. Now, the animosity you all have built up, that is because you've handled the situation inappropriately. A situation this delicate, it'll never need to play out on a Facebook. Ms. Paige, I want to understand from you, have you tried to ask some of Desmond's friends, maybe some of your other family members, were you aware that he was in a relationship with Ms. Lusk? Were you aware he may have had a child?
I have asked everybody. Nobody even know of Miss Lusk. Nobody.
Okay. Now, Ms. Lusk, I want to ask you respectfully, were you aware that Desmond was in another relationship with someone else?
No, Your Honor. I didn't find out until the day of and the day after his passing.
So how did you find that out?
Facebook, social media, and that's when, I believe, four days after his passing, that's when I took my own pregnancy test and found out I was pregnant. That was April 24th. His funeral was April 27th. I didn't go to his funeral. I couldn't, because how can I show my face as, like, how can I even go? I can't even support
Miss
somebody.
Lusk, I didn't have time to grieve. I didn't have time to grieve either.
We haven't
The day
either.
after my son was killed, his first daughter was born.
I understand.
You said.
Okay,
Are
I
you
understand
serious?
completely. But you are a grown woman. I was 16. The way you slandered me on
Are you
Facebook.
serious,
You
Miss Lusk?
you called my premature daughter ugly.
I did. She looked funny. She didn't
Wait,
look
It
like
was 3 months early, Miss Paige.
Listen.
3 months early. And look at my daughter. That is
Listen.
the spitting image of your son. It doesn't hurt me. It's
I
gonna
don't
hurt that
see it.
child.
One at a time. Ms.
Quote,
Paige,
unquote.
Ms.
Yes,
Paige,
Your Honor.
if in fact this beautiful baby girl is your late son's biological daughter, do you want to have a relationship with her?
I can't answer that.
And why is that? Why is that? Because each year,
Miss
Give her a
Lusk,
chance to respond.
Miss Lusk, it's too much. It's too much drama.
and it's too much for me as well because you caused the drama, Miss Paige.
Listen. I know both of you are grieving. I know both of you are just beyond yourselves in trauma, in grief. So I am trying to give you a moment to let it out, but I'm not gonna let this train leave this station and leave this baby behind.
And Your Honor, not
No, it is uncomfortable to me from where I sit, Miss Paige, to watch you shouting at this young girl because you are more than double her age.
Double.
And I'm saying this because I know this is not really what you want to do. And I know your anger and your frustration is coming from this place of grief. But when I ask you, if this is your son's daughter, do you want to have a relationship? And you say, I don't know because I don't know if I can take the drama. If that is your truth, I accept that. But what I will not accept is you all operating as if this drama has to exist, because it doesn't.
And that's all I want.
Let's get the truth. Jerome? These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. Because there wasn't a blood card available to test the DNA of the deceased, Desmond Paige, we performed a DNA test with his surviving parent, LaJuan Paige. With that being said, the results determine if there is a viable relationship between the child Samari Paige and LaJuan Paige. In the case of Lusk versus Paige, when it comes to 3-year-old Samari Paige, it has been determined by this court the probability of relatedness between Miss Paige and Samari Paige is 99.96%.
4 years.
Yeah,
4 years, and I never asked
For
nothing
4
of
years,
you. I never asked
my
nothing
son's been
of
deceased.
you.
You're supposed to do what you got to do as a mother.
Stop
absolutely correct,
arguing.
and I have.
Ladies, both of you all are in so much pain Everything that comes out your mouth is bitter. It's not helping you. It's not helping that baby. And it definitely does not honor Desmond. Yep. Every child needs their parents. And when unfortunate situations arise like this, where life is cut short, all we have left for this child to understand truly who her father was, his life, pictures of him, that's you. And you want that little girl walking around this world having stories about her daddy. And that's how you keep someone's legacy alive. Ms. Marsh, you claim your ex, Mr. Belding, and his mother have made false accusations about the paternity of your 3-year-old daughter, Jordan.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Belding, you're here with your mother. You claim little Jordan's biological father may be your own father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Whoa. So you've also petitioned the court for a lie detector test for Ms. Marsh to determine the extent of her relationship with your dad.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Belding's father will also be joining us to respond to that accusation in just a few moments. So, Mr. Belding.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your own father.
Yes,
Please
Your Honor.
explain.
We were living in Georgia, then he moved back to Indiana and got a room, or he shared a room with Amber.
He had nowhere to go, so I took him in.
Excuse me, Your Honor, but his sister lives there. He has numerous friends in Indiana.
His sister would not
I
live
live
with
there.
her at all.
He works. He could have lived other places than with her. He's lived with her off and on for the past 3 years.
It was
Yes.
Excuse me, Your Honor, it was with me and my mom, as a matter of fact, and he slept in a totally different room. It was a 3-bedroom house. We
That
never
was the
slept in
first
same
house.
room.
Yeah.
And
There's
we've
been
always had
several.
more than 3 rooms.
Okay, but I have to ask, Ms. Marsh, out of all the places you could live,
He had nowhere to go. Literally, I asked his sister, and his sister said, no, I'm not going to let
So,
a
Mr.
man I
Belding.
call my dad stay on the streets.
what other reason do you have to believe that Ms. Marsh was possibly sleeping with your father, or you're not the biological father of her child?
Just when I moved back to Indiana, there was a bunch of my friends that had said she had slept with them after she had
Excuse me.
slept with me.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Excuse
No,
me
that's
too,
not
Your
it.
Honor. She's
That's
already
not
had
it.
one man tested before Zach.
I didn't have him tested. He had her tested. I told him not
Because
to do
she
it.
told us that it was a
I still have-
possibility to begin
I have
with.
all the proof of that. I know who the father of my daughter is, and is this man right here.
But she thinks Zach's the dad, but he can't do nothing with her. He's not allowed.
And yes, she did let me in one time to see Jordan.
3
But any
times.
other times, she slammed the door in my face.
Except for the night you spent the night and you had sex with her, which was just 2 months ago,
Yeah.
Your
We
Honor.
didn't have sex. Your
So
friend
for
was
them
in
to
the
be
same
together
bed, Your
for a
Honor.
year, she must be sleeping around, is all I've got to say.
No. He
All
came
right.
over with his friend.
Why
He was
do
drunk.
you doubt that your son is her child's father when you know your son was in a relationship
Yes,
with
ma'am.
her? Why do you have so many doubts?
She gave us the doubt because she told us very plainly she came back to Indiana to give birth to Jordan. She had
Excuse me,
another
Your Honor, I
man.
never said that.
Can I finish?
never
She had
said
another man there while the baby was being delivered. That
there
was
was
her
no one else.
fiance at the time.
There was no one else in the room except for my mother.
And her
of course,
boyfriend, fiance
I'm
at the
sorry that
time.
your
Was
your
there a
son
man
didn't
at the
show up.
hospital, Ms. Marsh, that claimed to be your fiance when you were having the baby?
No, he
She's
did not
lying.
claim to be
That's
my
perjury.
fiance at all. I would never, ever get with that man.
She already
He's been a
said he's
childhood
going to be
friend
the
for years
dad. I'm going to sign the birth certificate. We were all there when it happened.
Because he was around for 9.5 months.
No, there's been 3 other men that I know
There's
of,
been
and
no
I haven't
men.
been around her for 2 years.
There's been no man.
She will call me out of the blues. Hey, can you keep Jordan? She'll bring her.
I changed
2
my number
diapers.
for her not to call me.
I thought you
moved
just said
an
that-
hour and a half
I got a
away
question. I
so
got
they would
something.
stop harassing me.
She just said that Zach
They
didn't want
ruined
to
my
see her. Now we
entire
harass
freaking
her.
front
She needs to get her
yard.
story
I'd pay
straight, Your
$200
Honor.
for trash.
If she thinks I'm the father, why did she have another man sign the birth certificate?
Excuse me, ma'am. I have the birth certificate. I have the birth certificate right here. Birth certificate's right here, and there is no other man on
Okay,
this
can I
birth
say it's
certificate.
because she lies to us all the time?
Jerome,
We don't
let
know
me
what
see
to
that
believe.
birth certificate.
There's no other
Okay,
man
because
on
she's
this
such a
birth
liar.
certificate.
While I'm looking at this birth certificate,
Yes, ma'am.
you all got to make me understand this. Now, you all met in high school
14 years old.
at 14.
Yes.
So you all were in a relationship, boyfriend and girlfriend?
No, not
Yes.
really.
Off and on.
So it was off and on for
Just a
years.
sexual thing.
But during this time you were together, that's when you got pregnant.
Yes.
No.
It was after I had moved to Georgia to live with him and his dad to
And
join
that-
the military.
That was totally a surprise too. I didn't know she was coming.
Her dad, his
my
dad did
had
that.
called her down.
Zachary didn't want nothing to do with her. His dad sent
It's
for her
funny
down
because
there.
I still have messages on my mom's phone from him saying, baby, I can't wait till you get here.
You got those?
So now,
evidence?
Mr. Belding, that's another reason why you think your father
He had her come
was
down there.
possibly sleeping with her too, because he's the one that decided to have her come down.
Yes.
Your Honor,
and then,
that's
and
not
then he
right.
left Zachary in Georgia by himself, came up here and moved in with her and just left Zach.
Because he had nowhere to go.
Nowhere.
I'm not the kind of woman to let a man stay on the streets. We just gave a homeless man a sandwich not even a day ago.
Mr. Belding, another man in your mind signed the birth certificate. I have it right here. Let me
Yeah,
see.
this is what I was told. I didn't see no picture.
Because he believes everything his
certificate.
mommy says, because he's a mommy's boy.
No, there's no person listed as father on the birth
That's
certificate.
because she lies to us about everything. But there was a man.
No,
Who introduced you to him?
well,
She did.
She's hallucinating because she was drunk when she showed up to the delivery room.
That's a lie. Your Honor, that's not what happened.
Yes,
that's
that is
a
what
total
happened.
lie.
We can
I
call
walked
my
the
mom.
hospital with her.
She was drunk.
For
You could smell
6
the vodka on her
hours.
breath.
We'll find out with the lie detector because she's a liar.
Mr. Belding, you
I
don't
didn't-
think you're Jordan's biological father, and you really think your dad is.
I wouldn't think my dad would do something like that. But if he was drunk, and they were living together, obviously, and she walks around the house half naked.
I never walk
And my
around
dad-
the house half
I've
naked. Ask this
had
man.
to tell her to put clothes on when she was 14 years old, and I went to the trailer to visit him, and she was running from one end to the other with a
No.
towel on, and I said, there's a room full of men out there, little girl, you get some clothes on.
Did your father ever say anything to you about them having a relationship?
Oh, he's told me they've slept in the bed together multiple times.
Hold on. So, Miss Marsh,
Multiple times.
you said it was different rooms in your testimony earlier.
Yes. In my 3-bedroom apartment, it was different rooms. And then when we lived at my mom's, I worked third shift and he worked first. We slept in the same bed, but not together.
See, now see
Not
who's
together.
lying, see how the story
So wait
changes?
a minute. So wait. Your
Our story isn't changing like hers.
Your story
Honor.
is changing a bit.
At first, we slept in different rooms.
But
And
do
then
you
when we
think
moved,
it's
we didn't.
appropriate for you to be sharing a bed on any level?
Well, we don't sleep in the same room
with
at the
his
same time.
father?
But we didn't sleep
Right,
in the
Your
same room
Honor,
at the
she
same time.
lied.
Why would I have sex with somebody I call my dad?
Why would
The
you share
only
a bed
man
with
I've
him?
ever called a dad.
Why would you share a bed with him?
This is a lot to take in. I'm still not processing that you are sharing a bed with Mr. Belding's father on any level, but you know what? I'm ready to talk to your father.
Hello, how are you?
We are here trying to figure out what in the world is going on. Did you ever share a bed with Ms. Marsh?
Kind of. I mean, the schedules between her mother's schedule, my schedule, and Amber's schedule, there was always someone there to take care of the baby.
So, how do you feel your son is accusing you of being the father of Ms. Marsh's daughter?
It's a little frustrating. I feel kind of demeaned by it, and I have never, ever laid a finger on Amber Marsh.
Thank you. And I would never lay a finger on him. That is my dad. That is gross. Granted, he's a very handsome man for being 47
Well,
years old.
sir, your son, he's concerned that you're the person that invited her to live with you. When you guys went to live in another state, he says you arranged for her to come with you guys. Is that true?
No.
He's lying.
My grandma paid for me to go there because she knew how much Zach meant to me. Now he means nothing. When you stay out of a daughter's life for 3 years, you only come over 3 times, and then one time you do
That's
come
a lie,
over.
too.
That's a
you were
lie
drunk.
too, Your Honor. She dropped her off to me 3 times. The baby didn't even know me, and she just
But
dropped
that's not
her
my
off. Do
fault. You
want
never
her?
call or ask about her.
Really? I thought you just said I harassed you so much you had to
You
move,
do
but now
harass
I don't
me.
call.
All right, so the court has administered lie detector tests,
Yes,
and we
ma'am.
will have those results a little later on. And we'll get down to the bottom of these questions that I can't seem to get answers to.
Thank you.
Miss Marsh, I want to hear about who's helping you with Jordan. He's 3 years old. You're claiming he has come by 3 times.
Yes.
How have you been doing
This man right here.
Is this is your witness?
And my mom.
Please stand,
Wait.
sir. Step to the podium. Your name is?
Tyson Hall,
And you are Ms. Marsh's
boyfriend.
boyfriend, and you've been helping her raise Jordan?
Every day.
Every day.
Every single day.
Good job.
I'm daddy.
How long has he been with her,
2
Your
weeks,
Honor?
3 weeks.
Because
No.
Zach just had sex with her over less than 60 days ago,
That's
spent
a
the
lie.
night with her,
That's a lie, baby,
and
and
everything. Came
Sure
to
did.
see her again, and he said he is
Yeah,
not
and
to
he-
see her,
and
and
he
she
wasn't
slammed
there.
the door in Zach's face. So he thinks that he can say when Zach can see this baby and when he can't.
I'm trying to understand. So, Ms. Marsh, you're saying Mr. Hull is your boyfriend now?
Yes, ma'am.
And you did not cheat with Mr. Belding
No.
less than 60 days ago?
No. No, Your Honor.
That's a lie.
We never had sex. His
I
best
get-
friend
I
was in
get-
the same bed.
You were in the bed with him,
Yes.
and your
But it
friend
was not
on
2
the
months
floor.
ago. And
Yeah, it was.
not
It
2
was
months
less
ago, Your
than 2
Honor.
months ago, Your Honor.
No, it was
When
not.
was this?
It was way before me and him got together.
And you two been together how long?
4
4
months.
months.
4
4
months he's been a
months.
dad to a 3-year-old.
So, Mr. Holt, please
all it
tell me
takes,
about the
man.
relationship you built with
Good
Jordan.
job.
It's just an everyday thing. I mean, you got to be a dad to do everything. You know what I mean? You got to get a job, take care of the baby, play with her. I play every day with her.
Good job.
Shoot guns together, take her to the park.
You won't be around long neither. She goes through men like you go through
I'm
toilet
sure.
paper, honey.
Yep. You can
Ask Matt Belding.
He's
He
lived-
can testify
he's lived
that
with
she's
her.
a hoe.
Oh, hold on, Miss.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Miss, let's
I'm
watch
sorry.
our language and let's be respectful
ma'am.
in the courtroom.
That's something she don't know how to do.
All right.
We'll see who the dad is.
I'll always be the father.
No, he won't.
Every single day.
We'll see these DNA
We'll
results.
see
Every
the DNA
single
results.
We'll see the DNA results.
I don't care what the problem is, I'll always take it.
Yeah, well, I'll
He
call the
won't even
police
be
on you for
around that long
kidnapping.
because she goes through him like toilet
Every
paper. So
single
I'm worried
day.
about what he has to say.
We'll see who's the father.
And so, what are you feeling like, Mr. Belding? Do you feel like you've been
I'm
shut
upset
out?
because this guy 2 months out of nowhere thinks he's the father
months.
of what could be my baby.
What could be
I
his
don't-
or
where-
baby?
We called
Where
the
have you
show.
been?
We want to know.
Is
Where
his
have you
baby.
been?
I was just there 2 months ago with her.
That's what you
He was
keep
just with
saying.
her less than
Excuse me,
60
Your
days
Honor.
ago. Like she said, she moved
That's what
without
you keep
telling
saying,
him.
though.
Your Honor, it was 4 months ago, and he showed
It
up
wasn't
drunk.
4 months
And it
ago.
was
But you
all
slept in the
pulled up.
bed with him?
Oh, thank you.
Well, yeah, of course. I'm not gonna let him
Hold on, because I'm tired of this story about how you take everybody in and everybody needs a bed, so I
Thank
just share
you.
mine. No, it doesn't work like that.
That's right.
Let's really be honest here. You admit that you shared a bed with him that evening, even though the friend was on the floor, right?
Yes, and it was not. We were not together. This was nothing.
Wherever he's been or whatever's going on between you all, within the last several months, you two have slept in the same bed, had contact,
Yes.
been close enough to where he even got in the house and got in the bed.
Well, yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
Right.
I wanted him there, and I had him sleep in the bed because I wanted him there. I want him to be a dad. But he's not. He's not calling. He's not showing.
She
I had him
just
sleep
said
in the
we
bed to
harassed
maybe
her.
maybe he would stay if he slept in the bed with me. And he left that morning, 8 o'clock in the morning,
To go to work.
to not go anywhere because he was hung over. The only reason why he came over because he was hung over.
Now we're getting to the truth now. So, when you had him come over,
No, he came over by himself. He knocked on my window.
Like I do all the time to
in the middle
go
of the
see her.
night.
Like he tries
And she
to go
slams
see
the door in
Jordan.
my face. Just went there last week to see her. Moved without telling me
Last
nothing.
week,
last week
Move.
when
You
I
don't even
did-
know where we live.
Not
That's what
anymore.
you
I just said that.
Duh.
Listen.
If you listen.
He was there last week. We moved 3 or 4 months ago. So how can he be there in the last week?
He did, and
I
he
changed
just
my
said
number
he
and
came
everything.
to where he
Thank
thought
you.
you
Thank you.
lived,
Thank
but you
you.
were gone and
Yeah,
you
because we
moved
moved
without
because they're
telling him.
harassing us.
And they didn't tell. She didn't.
Can I just say she keeps saying that we don't try to see the baby, and then she says we harass her.
Trust
Which way
me,
is
I
it?
hear it.
Okay.
Look,
Thank you, Your
Can
Honor.
we just do a lie detector test and do DNA test? So I can go home and get my beautiful little girl.
Yeah, because we're getting our baby.
You ain't getting nothing, honey.
You guys.
He didn't see her the first 2 years she was alive. To come
Okay,
over.
everybody.
Okay. Well, the story on
I'm
that is.
done now.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm done.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with a man that
neither.
has enough heart to love a
Right.
child
Absolutely.
that doesn't have
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's a beautiful thing.
That's great.
But
Great.
you all tell two completely different stories. Thank goodness for DNA and a lie
Amen.
detector test. So let's get this done. First, we're going to do the DNA results. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics and they read as follows. In the case of Marsh versus Belding, pertaining to whether Mr. Belding Sr. or Mr. Belding Jr. is the father of 3-year-old Jordan Marsh. Mr. Belding Sr., you are not Jordan's father.
Thank you.
I already knew that. Thank you.
Mr. Belding Jr., you are her father.
Thank you.
That's my baby.
That's our baby.
That's my baby, not yours.
You think so?
Mine.
You think
Stay
so?
right here.
Mine.
Stay
You
right
think
here.
so?
I got rights now.
Yes, you do, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Before we go, you were very concerned and wanted to know the level of intimacy was shared by Ms. Marsh and your father, Mr. Belding Sr. That concerned you.
Of course I did.
I have the
Yes,
lie
Your Honor.
detector results right here. Are you ready?
Oh,
Yes, Your
yes.
Honor.
The question read as follows. Ms. Marsh, you were asked, have you ever had sexual intercourse with your ex-boyfriend's father, Mr. Belding Sr.?
Yes, ma'am.
You said no. And the lie detector determined that is the truth.
There you go, buddy. I told you.
So, you know now.
That they haven't had any sexual activities yet.
Exactly. And so you can put that to rest too.
Yeah, but I'm still disgusted that they shared a bed together.
I'm disgusted too. But you know what? That doesn't have anything to do
Nope.
with Jordan.
Right.
Nope.
And now, let's focus on her.
Yep.
Yes,
I
Your
wish
Honor.
you all the best of
Thank you
luck.
so much.
Take care of that beautiful little girl.
We'll try.
Court is adjourned.
Ms. Hayslip, you are seeking a DNA test to prove that Mr. Hayslip, the defendant, is your biological father. You've believed he is your biological father for many years, yet you say he has never allowed you into his life. You acknowledge that your mother may have had sexual relations with multiple men at the time of your conception, but you claim you were always told that Mr. Hayslip was your father. You've brought your aunt along here today for moral support. Now, Mr. Hayslip, you say you want to prove that Ms. Hayslip is not your biological daughter today. You admit to being very angry because you claim you've been forced to pay child support for the past 19 years for a child you did not father. You are also asking Ms. Hayslip to change her last name so that she no longer has yours after today's test results are revealed.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Hayslip, when did you first hear that Ms. Hayslip is potentially your daughter?
I had moved from southern Michigan to northern Michigan. I was on my way back, about a 200-mile trip to southern Michigan. I was pulled over for speeding. And he said, you have a failure to pay support.
And this was the first time you're driving along routine traffic stop and they say this to you?
Yes, ma'am. In fact, they handcuffed me, and when they did, I was pretty mad, and I struggled a little bit with him. And he was adamant about it, and I asked, well, who is it? And he's like, well, it's not coming up. All it's coming up on my computer.
Because you knew nothing.
Nothing.
Never received a notice.
They served me at the address that I lived at 3 months previous to when I moved to northern Michigan.
Wow. And so you're sitting in jail.
Yep.
And you have no idea who
or what or where or when. Just that county is all I knew. That I supposedly had a child in that county that was showing no pictures, no dates, no name.
So when you finally got out, how did you go about finding out what this information was and how?
When I was released from the county, they gave me a court date. They stated the mother's name and the child's name. And I'm like, look, it's the timeline's off. There's no way. It's off by at least 2 months. I had only seen her mother for maybe a month.
And you submitted those dates to the court in the form of a calendar of sorts. So according to this calendar, you were intimate with Ms. Hayslip's mother
in October and November.
Yes, ma'am.
And that would put the latest expected due date, that would be in August, around the 20th.
Yes, ma'am.
But Miss Hayslip was born at the end of September on the 25th. So you're saying that
I believe her time of conception would have been December or January.
So in your heart of hearts, you truly believe this time just does not match up.
That is what I believe.
Now, Miss Hayslip, you have a completely different understanding that you were told as a child.
As I was growing up, I knew David as my father.
Who told you that he
My
was...
mother.
Okay.
And then my mother would tell me that he had nothing to do with me. He never wanted anything to do with me, but was trying to get with her.
So, as a child, what's your first memory where your mother told you?
It was around 5. She told me that he could be my father, but earlier she always said David Hayslip. And I would always ask her
She would
who
name him by name?
Yes.
Did you ever try to meet him?
Yes. I met one of the Hayslips in school, which is Courtney. And I told her that my dad was David, and she also said that was her father. And she went home to my Aunt Susie and told her that she met me. And my Aunt Susie told her the truth.
Up until that point, you all going to the same school and don't know
Yes,
you're
Your Honor.
potentially sisters?
Yes.
For a long time, they rode the same school bus and didn't even know it.
Can I jump in with that?
Mr. Hayslip, how did this happen?
She had a different last name. She did not carry my last name up until, as far as I know, her freshman year of high school.
And that was her mother's choice. Her mother gave her the Hayslip name once she approached junior high.
Why didn't she give her the Hayslip name when she was born then, if she's mine?
I don't know. I just feel, and I know, to me...
Well, Miss Hodgemeyer, let me first get you on the record. You are...
Celeste's aunt.
Celeste's aunt.
David's sister.
And Mr. Hayslip's sister.
Yes.
And you are standing on this side of the podium because you obviously support Ms. Hayslip in her claim.
Yes, I do. I met Celeste when she was like 5, 6. Her mother kept approaching me, and I didn't know who she was. And then she was approaching me, telling me that my brother fathered her daughter.
Okay.
I kept asking her and asking her and asking her to let me know Celeste, get to know her. She denied me. She wouldn't let me get to know her.
Really?
Yes. And then finally, after several months, she finally set it up to where that I could meet Celeste. My first impression of her, I thought she looked a lot like me when I was little.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a bond that we had connected, and then we started getting close, and then her mother pulled her away, and I didn't see her again for a long time, and the next thing you know, they put her into foster care.
5.5 years.
Yeah.
I feel for you. I see that this still is very painful for you.
I just want to know why, if you knew me back then, why didn't you try to get it taken care of back then?
Did you try to say to your brother, hey, David, this young girl, I think she reminds me of myself,
Hey,
you know.
Hey, what really happened is she brought Celeste to a family gathering this was before, I'd never seen her, ever. She brought her to a family gathering, took it upon herself to bring her to a family gathering without me being there, without me knowing about it, and telling my kids, my mom, my whole family, and friends that that was my daughter.
And that infuriated you.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I was never tested for it. I deny her. But even if she is my daughter, which I don't believe she is, that should be up to me.
You felt like she was out of place bringing Ms. Hayslip to your family before you made that initial.
Yes, that's my decision.
And Ms. Hodgemeyer, why is it that you felt like that was the appropriate time?
Because he didn't want to accept it. He didn't want to accept Celeste. He didn't want to accept the situation. And I was feeling that the only way to get her into this family and to get her accepted, she had to be known.
How do you know you're not bringing someone into my family that's not even part of my family? And I've fought, it's Cass County, Michigan. I have fought them for years. Every month, I have filed paperwork with them. They deny me, they deny me, they deny me. Since I didn't answer the letter, the original letter for the blood, back then it was a blood test, then I was deemed the father by default.
Exactly.
And they're saying there's nothing I can do to get a DNA test. I'm just for 18 years, I'm stuck paying child support no matter what. Because
And
I had a fling.
I've also read in the statements to the court that you were married to someone else when you had that relationship.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
So this whole pulled over by the police and arrested for this was the way this information came
That
out
ended
in
my
your marriage as
Yeah,
well.
That ended my first marriage, yeah. I was very young, and, you know, that's no excuse for what I've done, but emotionally and morally, I was not ready really to be married. I was as far as being, you know, taking care of my children.
And you also had to reveal this information to your daughters. You didn't reveal
I kept it from them.
You kept it from how long?
Till she
I told them the truth.
Yeah.
So there was no time in between where you mentioned,
To my
well,
children? No.
this could possibly be an issue.
No.
And then you found out this girl that's in my class could be my sister.
Yeah.
Wow.
But they had tested 2 men that I know of, possibly 3 or 4, before my name even got brought up. And I can tell by looking at her, my best friend at the time, she looks exactly like him.
Miss Hayslip, I want to hear from you. What was your childhood like trying to manage this kind of information?
I've grown up as him as my father, her as my aunt, her as my sister. But also, when he said that he would not take me because of foster care, that also hurt me so bad. Because I went to foster care for 5.5 years.
So,
because he said no.
And before you were placed in foster care, they came to Mr. Hayslip and asked if he would take you.
Yes.
And you're saying that
That's a lie.
he said no.
That's a lie. Even though I denied her as my child, I'm still a human being. I wouldn't check on her well-being. On where they would not tell me where she was being placed. I drove 60 miles to the courthouse.
You drove 60 miles. You went to find her?
Twice.
Twice.
To find her.
To find her.
Yep.
And when you got there, they would just look at you and say, we don't know where she is?
They railroaded me. All they would tell me is she was somewhere near Grand Rapids.
And I seem to agree with him because me, to be supposedly aunt too, I done the same thing. There would be times that I would call her mother myself and beg her, more or less, to let me know something about her. Well, let me tell you an incident. There was a time I was going to take her to the fair. Well, her mother gives me a phone call telling me that she was going with her other aunt, her sister. So I just, okay, and left it alone. Couldn't find out she sat there dressed all day on the bed waiting for me to show up.
Oh. You know, Miss Hayslip, I have a child, and I cannot fathom what in the world would allow me on any level to be that cruel. All right, let me bring in your daughter, Courtney Hayslip. Please step up to the podium. Thanks for being here. Now, is there a reason why you have not accepted Miss Hayslip Celeste into your life? Are you doubtful that she is your sister?
A little bit, because I've never been told about her, and I wouldn't think that he would deliberately try to hide something from the family if he knew it was his.
I had 2 other children from another mother. After my marriage had broken up,
Yes.
I had gotten with someone else.
Okay.
I did not hide those children from them or anything. I told them straight up, you know, hey, you've got a brother, you got a sister, here they are, let's meet them. The only reason, a big reason that things went the way they did with her mother.
But you shouldn't let your actions for my mother come towards me.
But what have you been involved with since you've been a teenager?
A lot.
Right.
I've gotten in contact with her.
No. I'm talking about as far as trouble.
College. I had a job.
How many times have you been arrested?
Twice.
For what?
Assault and battery.
Okay. You think I want that influence around my other children that are going to college and going to school?
Well, Mr. Hayslip, before you are so quick to be her judge and jury, we have heard in this courtroom today an account of a childhood that I don't think you'd wish on any of your children.
You're right.
Or any person.
You're right.
You have to understand that at least before you go and condemn this young woman. You know what? Let me go to the results.
Wait, Judge, before you read the results, can I ask you 2 things?
Absolutely. What would you like to know?
Any way this turns out, I ask that she takes my last name away from her. The other thing, if it turns out she's not mine, I ask for all child support money that's ever been paid to her to be returned to me.
First
Even
off,
if she proves to be your daughter, you don't want her to have your name.
Nope.
well, what point are you making with that?
The point that I'm making with that is her mother's side of the family, I don't want associated with my last name at all.
But that's not
But you're
Celeste's
angry
fault.
with her mother. Why are you taking out
I'm
the
still
anger
angry
you
with her
feel
for her
mother
actions.
on her?
How can you be angry with me? You have nothing to do with me.
What
And I
has
won't-
she done
I
to
won't
you?
never accept some of the things you've done.
What has she done to you?
Nothing personally.
So you're just stating to this court that if she is my daughter, I just don't feel like she's good enough to have my name.
That's how you want to put it.
It sounds like that's what you're saying.
Then that's what I'm saying, yeah.
And so, you know what? Let me go to the results. And then I will have my say. In the case of Hayslip versus Hayslip, when it comes to Celeste Hayslip, Mr. Hayslip, you in the case of Hayslip versus Hayslip, when it comes to Celeste Hayslip, Mr. Hayslip, you are her father. Well, at least now we know your money spent was not in vain. And you have a beautiful young lady over here that the name she carries is, in fact, her rightful name.
That has changed my mind.
Has it?
That has changed my mind.
How do you feel right now?
Because for all these years, I truly believed in my heart of hearts that she was not mine.
What do you want to say to your daughter?
I'm sorry.
Thank you for that. That is what this court is about. None of us, including me here today, are perfect people, but I always say it is never too late for a brand new start. I want you to learn to love your daughter, Celeste Hayslip. That's your baby girl.
First, I'll get to know her.
You're absolutely. But know this, when it came down to the come down, as people say, and you didn't know where she went, what was your instinct?
I went to find her.
You went to find your baby girl. Find her. Find out who she is. Miss Hayslip, this is your day. You have found your family. I'm so happy for you. Court is adjourned.